Let's make my morning supplements drink together. First of all, I have these supplements in capsules, so this is not what is included here. So I regard these other things also kind of as supplements. I do take them mostly for a supplemental reason, which is the first one of these would be cocoa powder. This has been recommended by Inside Tracker 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I did a blood draw with Inside Tracker in last December, which is now about half a year ago. And what was recommended is that I would have 1 tablespoon of cocoa powder. Now the next thing that was recommended was to have vegetables every day and a variety of vegetables. Now, what I tried to do with this here is to have basically all of these different things that have been recommended by Inside Tracker in a powdered form, such that I can very easily mix them together. This is part of a kind of a project to try to drink meals in order to save time during the day and nonetheless be able to eat very approximating optimal, at least in regards to what I can do in regards to this. So this is bulk greens, and I do have it as a kind of stand-in for veggie variety, and I take the daily recommended dose of 3.5 scoops, and 1 scoop looks like this from this company here. Now, the next recommendation was organic flaxseed powder. Now, I bought this and again take the recommendation, the minimum recommendation that is on here, which is basically to reduce cost. So it says here 1 heat scoop, and it has the same scoops. So I am preparing this for the next 10 days because this is what fits in 1 glass. So I am taking 10 scoops of flaxseed into here. Inside Tracker recommended way more than this, so this is just 5 grams. Inside Tracker recommended 4 tablespoons. I think a tablespoon is usually, depending on the density of the powder you have, about 10 grams. So I'm taking only 1/8 of the dose Inside Tracker actually recommended to me. But organic flaxseed powder, or flaxseed powder in general, has 10 grams of fat, which is somewhat high, and it also has lots of fiber, which is very beneficial, and then it also has lots of protein. But I also had the idea to kind of replace the protein scoops in my morning drink, which already kind of exists. So as I'm recording this is basically the first protein shake in this day at least, and this is 2.5 scoops of whey protein, where I also have it from bulk powder, basically, because that's where I usually just buy it. Now, the next recommendation, and this is now a supplement recommendation. So the previous recommendations were recommendations that were basically nutritional recommendations. I just got them in a powdered form, but then you can also get supplements like creatine to a certain extent in a powdered form. The next thing which was recommended was this here, psyllium, and quite conveniently, I also kind of see this as a fiber lever. Now, we already saw that flaxseed has quite a little bit of fiber, but this here also now has basically most of it fiber. So this fiber, 80 grams per 100 grams, and the rest is basically non-existent. So what I now take here, even though Inside Tracker recommended, I think, 1 tablespoon in a day, I am again taking only the minimum recommendation in order to not make this too expensive, this project. So I only take half a scoop, which is approximately 2 grams. And now this draws lots of water, so it is kind of important to have lots of water. And this then, therefore, so the whey protein does not have lots of fiber in it, but we already now have the greens in there. I actually don't know how much fiber the greens have. Let's take a look. So these are the greens from bulk. Per 100 gram, also 25 grams. So not nothing. But the whey protein doesn't have much fiber. So it is somewhat useful to have kind of other food powders in there, or not necessarily food powders, but just, yeah, well, it is food. It is just different parts of the food. It is just not a combination of various parts of food, one could say. Now, in the beginning, I actually, instead of whey protein, I took this vegan protein, which then had a benefit that is, in terms of the protein, it is exactly the same. Not Now, only in terms of the grams, not in terms of the quality, I think. And of course, it is also consists out of different things. So in here, this is a protein blend, which is the standard vegan protein blend from Bulk. So we have vegan protein, which is pea protein, isolate soya protein. Then we have pumpkin seed, quinoa, flaxseed, and then sunflower lecithin and a couple of other things. Now, this would have the benefit that it is closer to a kind of meat shake. It also doesn't have the milk sugar in it, which I think the whey protein has. Instead, it has probably more complex carbohydrates and 4.6 grams of them. But since in here we have the milk sugar in there, and this is now the whey protein, what this means is that it is also a little bit sweeter. And so I found this, I don't exactly know. I seem to prefer the whey protein, and probably in terms of the bioavailability of the protein, it is also higher, I think. So I just switched to whey protein, and I basically just ask my body whatever it prefers, and then this is what I usually do. So I have also beef protein in here, and sometimes I'm like, okay, I really need beef protein. And I also got a few droplets of water in here. Not exactly ideal, but well, I now can't change it any longer. Into this here, I also usually have now citrus juice or whatever it is called. So lemon juice. It's called lemon juice. And then I also have a little bit of apple cider vinegar in order to make it kind of sweet, because the apple cider vinegar tastes a little bit like apple cider. And so these kind of counter each other out. This makes it sour, and this makes it kind of sweet sour, you could say. I work out in the morning, and so I stand up and then I wait basically until I'm hungry, which is sometimes before I'm working out and sometimes after. So it could be 2 hours after working out or already before working out. It depends on sleep quality and lots of other things. So the 2.5 scoops of protein, whey protein, amount to 57.5 grams of protein. And then we have a little bit of additional protein from the flaxseed, as well as, well, the other things like cocoa